everybody, Lucky Letshabo here. Thanks very much for joining us. It's Coach on a Couch, another episode, another week, and another eventful sporting weekend that we've just had. So much to talk about. I'm not alone. I'm with my co-host, Dino Donks. Biani, he's behind the mic as well, and he'll be along the ride with me as we go through tonight's episode. A very special guest joining us to give us an account of his experiences and also what is the state of rugby looking like at the moment in the country, particularly at schoolboy level and particularly looking at the transition from schoolboy level into the senior. So lots to talk about with our guests that we will have in a moment. Donks, how's the weekend?
Good day, Lucky. A weekend is always lovely when it's action-packed, full of sports.
Certainly so. The weather, however, didn't exactly play ball over the weekend. Didn't stop the sport from happening, though.
Not at all, but we did go from summer to winter within a few hours.
What? Just quick and a fast. So lots of sport on the go as normal. Couple of highlights there. Number one, a Champions League final, Real Madrid. I mean, Vinicius Jr., do we give him the Ballon d'Or? What's going on there? I mean, after that performance...
Can we give the Ballon d'Or to a Pirates player?
I guess there's only one person that would get it in that sense. Mufokeng, because, I mean, the Nedbank final again, the Sea Robbers, they do it again in a final against Sundowns, who are otherwise an incredible season. That little Vulavala, that shimmy there, and then to finish off, he was a replacement as well.
He was a replacement, and he had two open players at the top of the box.
So in other words...
He decided to go low.
If he didn't slot it in, my boy would have been on the showers very early.
Moments of greatness, it's what it takes.
I guess it's what it takes as well. There was some URC as well. The Lions traveled down to the Stormers. I mean, they had a tough challenge there. They needed to beat them to stay in the mix. Unfortunately, they fell just short. And then on the schoolboy scene, just KZN derbies everywhere there in KZN.
We had some huge fixtures. We had Maritzburg College beating Hilton 26-21. We had Durban High School beating Michael House 23-10. We had St. Charles beating Glenwood 32-19. We had Northwood pipping Westville 30-27. And we had Rondebosch beating Bishops 31-16.
On the Piley, so that was a away game for Rondebosch. So to win the Bish Bosch, they call it the derby down there in Cape Town. So it must have been fantastic for them to win away from home. So lots of rugby. Joburg, a little bit quiet over the weekend. Most schools haven't gone into exams. I think St. John's had played Pretoria Boys and Davids and Parktown, but certainly exam time. We do have academic institutions up in Johannesburg. So that was that. But you're looking at the highlights reel of all the sport that was happening. There was just one moment for me that, I looked and I looked back again and I looked at the highlights. Roland Garros, for me, if you look at that match with Djokovic and Musetti, wow. I mean, you expect Djokovic to pull off shots like that, and then Musetti just gave it a fatsue, visiopa. We'll put it up on the screen in a second, because if you catch that highlight, I was just like, okay, I'm done. Let's not watch this anymore. Just that reverse shot from Musetti there was just absolutely fantastic. So certainly a highlight for me over this past weekend. Anything that stood out for you?
I keep going back to the Pirates game. Extra time, substitute, two men open, scoring a cracker.
I think from a South African perspective as well, our football here, we're tired of going to stadiums and seeing 0-0 and 1-0 and bloody blah. That final was really exciting, immaterial of which side, you were sitting, which side, of the scoreboard you were fancying. It was amazing. Absolutely
And then let's not forget the Bulls beating the Sharks. What a game.
What a game that was indeed as well. Sharks would feel a little bit hard done by there. One moment of that game, actually, Apelele Fassi, he's got a set on wheels on him, because there was a line break. There was a chip over the top. There was a line break, and Apelele Fassi was just like, Zappa. Aye. caught him, try-saving moment there. That's pretty much all they had to show for themselves. But from a highlights reel perspective, Apalala Fasi definitely has got wheels. And I'm really hoping that when King Vili decides to hang up the boots one day, someone like a Fasi will take over the number 15 jersey.
Yes, talking about hanging up the boots, hanging up the gloves, we have Dustin Poirier from the UFC who took a loss in his third title attempt, never made it. And what does he do now?
Jeez. Awkward, huh?
3 times trying to be the champion. Does he have another run in him?
Guess you got nothing to lose. No pun intended there. I'm still just waiting here. Is my highlights you're going to come on there? The exchange happens. Djokovic goes to the net. And then he thinks, I'm done. Watch this.
Moments of greatness. It's why we do this.
I mean, even Djokovic gives it a wry smile. What else are you going to do? I mean, look at this. Look at the precision. My highlight of the week here. That was a really exciting game here. Our guest this evening. Let's bring him on and see what he has to say for himself. Delori?
I'm not getting in trouble here.
Hey!
Hey, is this chair going to hold me though?
We'll find out. Delori?
You good, bro?
What do you say?
I can't complain, man. It was an action-packed weekend.
Yes.
Just because it was a perfect, ideal situation to stay at home, so you don't miss it.
Hey, given the weather. We'll get into that in a moment. Just please look into that camera there across from me. Introduce yourself. What is your name, surname, your nickname, your claim to fame, and your reason for you to get up every Monday?
My name is Lawrence Sephaka, former Springbok. That's my claim to fame too. Reason for getting up in the morning is just being thankful that I'm able to get up.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
And a nickname, Talori?
No, not Talori. Talori is from you.
Yeah.
Rugby nickname, Kabila.
Okay. Explain.
You know Lauren Kabila from the DRC?
It
was by default.
Okay.
But it stuck. With the cats, I see the jersey, legendary.
Aye.
It was these days, Lorry Mains.
Original,
Lorry Mains likes to read newspapers and stuff like that. So what happens one time, you are stressed out. I don't know what happened. Tapoki. You remember Tapoki from New Zealand, the stepper?
Hey.
I was probably claimed to fame as well. I was probably the first prop who could sidestep. So obviously, tippy toe, guys were calling me Tapoki.
Okay.
So because he heard what he heard, and he changed it to something else, and then Kabila was it, and then guys never changed it. It just stuck. That was back in the kids' days, and then Kabila was it. And Mac will tell you as well, Kabila, that's the name that sort of stuck for the run when it became a rugby nickname, so I stuck with it as well.
I'll definitely have to ask Mac sometime when I see him. But absolute privilege to have you on the show. Delori, former Springbok Lions and Cats player, as you say there. We'll do a bit of a deep dive into that Cats thing. I still don't understand, but Benitaina Gupi, who was going where? Were the Free State guys coming here and down? But, geez, we'll...
Have you heard of Polygamist? We had 2 homes, Baba.
Yeah.
Bloemfontein and Josie.
Ngapa na ngapa?
I know.
Home and away game.
Like home and away. I know when I go to Bloom, chill a week in Bloom. When I go to Joburg, chill a week in Joburg.
Dino, imagine you told your missus that you're going to go for a week in Bloom every second week.
I'd have to be very careful about which missus I told where I was. So
don't cross the wires.
For me, I'd be on the streets. So there's only way it would work. Delori, straight into it, man. Wonderful Springbok career. At what stage does Delori decide, hey, man,
Clock.
hang up the boots?
Oh, it's hectic. Actually, he had a bit of a run with the Lions. There was a time just building up to the World Cup 2007.
Yes.
But 2006. And obviously 2006 ended with the Bog tours who came back. And there was a bit of a shuffling happening there. And obviously Jake was getting his team ready. obviously starting to talk to the unions. I'm looking at this one, I'm looking at this one.
Forward
Planning.
Yeah.
And more, that communication between coaches and the professional teams, I don't think is a good idea. Because then things started happening at the Lions. The Lions probably got a word with, hey, this one is on his way out. They start looking at newer talent, and then that's when the Heinkes and the Mjatis came through. Like, hey, competition here, Baba. And all of a sudden, from having a preseason, from having an off-season, and then a preseason, I started from off-season straight into a preseason, no off-season at all, because I skipped it. Because I came at the end of year 2 and I came home and I'm like, hey, back into it immediately. Advantage of that, you're still rugby fit, but not running fit.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have an off-season. I think things started happening there and the word started like, the plans are changing. It's like, hey, I'm going to go overseas. But anyway, my contract still, I must stay until end of the year. It's like, hey, that's when I exchanged Northwest, play with the rugby there, Currie Cup happens, and then obviously rugby as it is, injuries would happen. So they call me back, say, Baba, hey, sorry, man, but we need you now. That's when you lost that Currie Cup final against Free State leading 18-6, and then Kabamba happened. I mustn't
Danger.
talk about
Danger.
Kabamba.
No, let's not give you help applications about that, Talori. So, obviously now there's a bigger amount of players that are going overseas, whether it be Japan now, whether it still be in Europe, whether it still be in France. The Springbok setup as it is allowing it to happen, because we went through a stage in this country here where if you go overseas, Pelilengawe in terms of a Springbok cap and a Springbok opportunity. But now, the access is there. When you guys did it in the early 2000s, late 1990s as well there, it wasn't very popular. And you guys were, were the forefront of, hey, let's go check it out on the other side and see how it goes.
No, funny enough, you're talking about the era of, if you go overseas, that's tickets, Baba, you're retiring literally by yourself, not telling anyone else that when you're going overseas. So basically, at that time when you go overseas, your international career probably might have come to an end, or maybe want to give it a try overseas and see how it feels. At that time, I can't remember of anyone who went over and came back.
Yeah.
And when time went on, because they were still trying to follow the New Zealand methodology of guys who leave the country, that's it, we're looking for new talent coming. And it was not working for us because we've got a lot of talent that is produced every time. And then even if they go, there's still a lot. But what they picked up is like guys overseas are getting better experience. And then when it does come back for some reason, maybe a local union wants them better, hey, it's actually better. Maybe start looking at our players, not really write them off. Go, we'll keep an eye on you, and then call you when you need and stuff like that. Look at Chase and Kobe, for instance. That thing obviously was happening at the time as well. South Africa, he's given up on the Bok jersey, decides to go, hey, let me go enjoy life in La Vida, La France. And then obviously got there, superstars like, yay! And everyone sit back and like, what did we miss here, guys? Because I think here, because we produce so much talent.
Yeah.
We don't spend time with talent to try and find out the weaknesses, the strengths, and take what we need from him and leave what we don't want. Because there's too much coming through. And the pressure is on. Everyone is trying to pick the best. And I don't think coaches put a lot of time in actually understanding a player if he's mature yet, or if he's not ready yet, or when is the right time to throw him in there. If you look at school rugby, is currently, you're talking about academic schools. Basically academic schools have to focus on academics, but the rugby schools are focusing on rugby.
Yeah.
And then academics is an afterthought thing. And then obviously that's where the cookie crumbles at a point, because you have to draw a line as a parent as to when do you actually allow your kid to put all his eggs in that basket, or when does he put 50 feet and then carry on. On coming back to obviously the overseas thing, at our time it didn't happen. When I went, I was basically just going to have a run, because my international career is basically over.
Might as well. Let's have a
Might
go.
as well go. But
Hey.
but when I think I came back, I was having such a good time with that Currie Cup season. I was supposed to leave. And the Lions decided, listen, man, we made a mistake here. Are you keen to have another 2-year season signed with us? But say, unfortunately, guys, I've already signed. So I need to go and then honor that thing. And then if things work out, we'll see. And then I'll come back 1 year with an option to sign for a second year. And I think that was also a mistake. In France, you don't just flourish within a year unless you're Chancellor.
No.
As a front rower, you don't.
You're back. Wait your time.
Hey, those Georgians and East Europeans will show you flames, Baba. Now, I'm telling you, that was obviously the case. And And I had fun, a lot of experience to play with Georgie Gregan there. It was basically an international team. When they were actually Toulon, Predator, win that time when they actually got into top 14 ever since they never went back. That was the time when all the superstars were there. Tano Maga player / coach.
Hey, so you're in the mixer?
Ah, no, it was happening.
How
but
did
it
you decide?
obviously getting a scheme was tough. You know what I mean? One mistake, yay.
Lawrence, talking about putting all your eggs in one basket, at what stage in your life and career did you decide that rugby is going to be it?
It's actually I'll put it for in a different forms. Coming from where I come from, any opportunity that you see is a bright light, and then basically go full force, see what happens, and then
There's no time for oranges at halftime.
No time for no. There's no time for such, and it's unfortunate the situation we're in. A lot of talented youngsters in this country come from an adverse background. When they get an opportunity like that, it's always a case, do your best. Don't worry about the other thing, because it might just distract you on what you're busy with currently. And that's a situation. Not that we're choosing to put those eggs there. You have to put those eggs there. Want to put one on the side, it's like, this one is not focused.
Yeah.
What is he planning? If I give you a small scenario, there was a time, Simunye, do you remember who's the guy who did it with a shower?
Yes.
Simunye groove.
You remember who's the guy in the
Yes.
shower?
Yeah.
That guy got in trouble because of that.
And
And he was always trying to cover different career on the side.
He was
And
just
that was
trying
during-
something.
And during Lori Main's time as well, it's like, you know what I mean? And then it was unfortunate. Then we realized, yay, you're not allowed to have eyes wandering. So do this thing until it's done. And then when it's done, you pack your bags, go pick it away, and then go try to open a brand new suitcase and see what kind of marbles can you find there and throw the dice and see what future brings up for you. And obviously, if you've saved enough money as well, you might all start your own thing to see how it actually keeps you alive and stuff like that. But spending money was probably not part of my forte, or maybe I didn't have time to spend it.
Easier.
Which is a good thing. So I didn't have
Yeah.
time to spend it. So it means you get right advice as well to invest in a lot of things. I mean, property and all of those things. And then it does help. So when you're done finishing, and then you can assess the situation and look what other things can you keep on doing after that. Staying within the rugby, love the game. And not all of us are going to be brilliant coaches. Not all of us are going to be specialists at that. But in order to stay within the game, I mean, I can coach the game, I can talk about the game, I can analyze the game. So you open up all those avenues just to make yourself open to still accept the game when it comes to you. Now we can still deal with this and actually move it on while you have your private life and your private time and actually enjoying that as well. Because now family time is very important.
Vital.
I mean, you stole my 5 minutes today, but my metaphor.
I know. No, we're thankful about that. And, you know, Talori, I'm glad that you touched on that, looking ahead into the future and saving and investing, because we see a lot of our youngsters, and you yourself, you know, as a Scrum consultant and your time at UG, I'm sure you come across a lot of these players where, like you said, that one opportunity, yes, I've got to take it, but I take it as in, I will see tomorrow. For now, I'm right here. There's no that forward thinking of, hey, in 5 years and 10 years.
It's almost like you weren't allowed to do that. 'Cause
Yeah.
today's age, the guys are using their fame and power to build brands,
Yes.
businesses. I mean, Malcolm Marx is selling beer.
Yay.
You know?
So when you were in the mix back in the day and you were forced to just only focus about rugby, you kind of lost a little bit of opportunity.
Basically, you're moved away from
You are
the
limited.
avenue outside rugby. They were not saying, listen, there's life after this thing. Do you have plans? Do you need help to actually get going with that thing? That's where I think academies are very important. With these kids who are coming through academies, because I think they're coming through schooling and obviously trying to open up their horizon as well while they're playing. Listen, we're going to give you the books, but we're going to try to give you this as well. Let's see what works when you jump over the fence. You understand what I mean? I mean, look at Beats for interest sakes. When he was at the Sharks Academy, and his chance was like, hey, I want to just take a chance when I get a chance. And while he was actually getting his schooling done with the academy while playing rugby, so obviously having parents to be able to support that is also key. But talking about support as well, I came from a place where I didn't have support. First time my mother actually showed a game that I played in was when I got a blue eye from Dale Senton.
I can can see why you remember that day.
No, I'm telling you, I cannot forget it because I remember with Jaguar. Remember, I also worked with Jaguar quite a lot to the under 21 with the Eric Solomons, who may God rest in peace, because I mean he was the head coach. Jaguar was a force coach at the time, or backline coach. I think. Oh no, Gersmal was our force coach and Jaguar was a backline coach. So I might have got it wrong, but doesn't matter. That group, the group that actually, the last group that actually won the under 21 with John Smith.
Yeah.
When he was captain, that only under 21 when he became under 20 after that. We literally the last group that won the under 21 league. So preparing for that, we were not playing against our age group. We were playing against unions, basically the sub-unions, the Bollands and the Falca, against Hardeman. You know, basically,
Border Bulldogs.
Yes, against Hardeman.
That's Manavi.
Yes, that basically, I think that was a great strategy for him because just toughen it up. While we were fit, we were able to run around as well. So that actually worked. I think one of the last games we actually played before going was against Poland. And I remember this today. I don't know what Dale was saying. And I said, hey, man, you know, so I'll get you. He's like, yeah, try to catch me first. So Papa, I forgot. Literally 3 racks after that. He got me. So like basically, and I think the game that we actually played now was on TV. I had this blue eye. And the one game she decided to watch.
There you are, Tumbi.
Wow.
But Mom, let the kids play.
Let the kids play, man. But the show must go on.
The show must go on. So basically, I can never forget that story, Shem. But and now talking about support, and that's when she was really trying to get involved. And actually, you know, supportive is all she could have done at the time. You know, coming from Recherpark. Do you guys know where Recherpark is?
Yeah.
Yes, so the back, the valley, that side. So I grew up with those colored boys. So sometimes probably toughen you up as well. Or at the same time also protected you from certain things that happens in those surroundings at most times when you got nothing to do. You know what I mean? So I was pretty lucky from school, got picked up by Springs. Off you go. And then...
Springs, huh?
Yeah.
Springs. So when you were part in the towel...
My guy.
From day dot, you were trappe van vergelijking.
The reason ek praat Afrikaans tot met my ore, want ek moes van English medium flip upside down, savor Afrikaans overnight.
Jeez.
So I think my advantage was coming from a colored community. So the complex Afrikaans was on flick.
The conversational was there, but
yeah, no
moet jy skryf.
No moet jy die savor goed skryf.
Yes.
That was a very tricky situation. I literally had to drop all my high grade subjects. Only thing that was high grade is English. Also, sometimes I asked, why did I even bother?
You did the switch, go fully into the switch.
No, I'm telling you, guys. I'm telling you, but I think that school was something wonderful as well. I think the teachers that were there, when you actually realize when women are into something, the best support you'll ever get. I mean, my best 2 teachers that were actually biggest fans was an Afrikaans teacher, I think, and a maths teacher, who literally loved rugby. And those ladies, I think that they were involved in rugby before ladies could even think of actually being involved in rugby instead of just chilling there or being a pom-pom girl kind of a setting. They loved the game, so they actually got into it so much. They became the biggest fans while I was at school, and the support was also awesome. So I think from there, Baba.
And have you always played Lucid?
No, I started Lucid.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I got wiser and slower.
You realized,
I became excited.
Then they said, I know.
Yeah, I know. Shift over.
Down the line.
At least I've had enough experience this side. You know, jump over the fence and
see how it is on that side.
Roll the shoulders, which is a great thing. But I don't know how I skipped hooker because I was short enough to cover hooker at some point as well. But I suppose there were too many hookers. So I was happy to just shift over that side. Obviously, that comes from the confidence of a coach giving you that platform. So listen, I'm not throwing a deep end. Try to swim. If you can swim, I will go. And funny enough, happened that before I even got my first cap. When I was still at the Falcons, that 2000 tour went in, we were supposed to play in only the midweek teams.
Yeah.
Come against Argentina. I think one of the Springbok big shots that was playing in that midweek game. I don't know if he got tired or sick or something.
There you were.
Scrummed. He got scrummed. He's like, yeah. And Jake was like, yeah, deep end, Baba. Let's go.
We're here now.
So, Lawrence, you debuted at 108 kilos. Now, the only thing that has changed, I think your arms have gotten bigger. So, what does an ex-Bok do now to stay fit And as strong as you are.
Yo, my guy, actually, I got stronger after playing.
Right.
After playing.
Hey.
I think as a Springbok at the height of my career, when I had a six-pack at 108, as he's saying, I think my highest bench was probably 180. I could manage one rep. 180.
Wow.
Now it's pop and place.
Baba, I'm telling you, 2 years after retirement, I was doing 10 reps with 180.
Wow.
Like, yo. So
looking at my arms, you can see how much I know about that topic. So the yours coming from dongs, I'll take that as okay. That's a good thing. Well done, Talo. Yeah, keep it going.
It's actually very scary because I understand as well why I got so strong. Remember, with rugby, there's so many things that you do.
Yeah.
You run, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. Gym is just a small part of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then obviously there you have to do that precise kind of setup to actually just to fit into a puzzle. But now when you got your own time,
Yeah.
hey, let's a bit of running. Man, I can eat these weights now. Let's chill with the running. I've run enough. And obviously it was
It's
not
the
my
way
favorite
he says
thing.
that. But you enjoy the gym in particular.
Actually the gym.
You were a fitness guy, weren't you?
No. Fitness guys, you enjoy the gym if you're
Yeah.
able to move around weights as you like. And I mean, legs, I would do, let's say for instance now, if I remember last time I did legs, I can do legs this month, forget about it the whole month. And then the next time hey, Kanene, there's this thing, legs. You'll do the weights that you did last month and it wouldn't be a problem. I don't know what it is. I think my legs are still strong. If I can think of a machine currently that can load those 20s, I think I can do 8 and 8 this side of those 20s. Leg presses, 20 reps. And they're like, it scares me because I'm not sure what's going to give. Because the only thing that
the knees.
If the juice is still in the knees, something goes wrong there. The only reason you don't go far is because what's the point? I'm just doing here to get some burning going here somewhere. Because the other words are too light. It's like, this thing, man. And
but it's lovely that you're keeping fit because if you don't use it, you will lose it. And I mean, you've trained at the highest of highest levels. And then you would think once you're done, it's time for a break. But actually, looking at you now, you can see that you've stepped it up.
I know you could still go.
Interestingly, now you talk about usually the obvious thing that would happen, being a forward. You've run so much, you've changed so much. You actually hated training. Only thing you loved about rugby is actually playing rugby.
Yeah.
And the guys, fun enough, when they retire, that seems to stay in shape a bit longer, are the forwards than the back. The back sort of pull a handbrake. And then something happens and they become like us, you know what I mean? I can talk about a few
you almost
guys.
change roles.
Yeah, like change roles completely. Like, it's not like because he is not doing it anymore. Maybe the effort is doing it now. It's not as intense as it was. Then the eating hasn't changed, but the training is slightly reversed. And then over you get as well. Remember when you got kids, hey, you gotta think I need to stay fit because I have to.
You have to pick the guy up from down there, man. You're doing involuntary squats
I'm telling you.
your house there. So
I think it's also another thing that motivates you from keep on going. It's a health thing and with vitality people now. Although I don't do those crazy long runs, but I do get my weekly goals in on a weekly basis. Bit of cardio here, just a bit of blood,
Get the blood up a little bit.
Yes, and just to make sure. No, Discovery has come up with a trick that actually works. Even on a sick day, sometimes you gotta make a plan. It's like, 300 points. How am I gonna get
then that watch goes. You're like,
hey, you see, Baba.
And if you do enough sessions, you're gonna get a free smoothie. So
a smoothie, sometimes a flight. You're just like, hey, listen. You got to keep going there. Dalori, tell me about, particularly with the consulting. You're still very involved in scrummaging and getting those guys there, whether it be a schoolboy level, whether it be at varsity level there. Are you seeing that there's more technique applied versus back in your day? Amen. Good, get in there and we'll see how it goes. Are you having to teach more than you should, do you feel?
Oh, it's actually very interesting you say that because I would rather think if it was back in the olden day, it was even easier to pick a prop. Someone who's got the size you can fly and land. The bigger you are, the better you landed and the stronger you seemed. But now it's technique. I mean, you don't have to be very big. but having the right technique and the hooks and handles, I think that's more crucial now. And then obviously coaches look at the overall. That's why now they don't even pick props who got big bellies. You get one or odd a few now and again who've got big bellies, but are still able to get around the park and do their thing. Look at Klabaganye. A lot of guys don't rate him because the way he looks, which is a sad thing. He's probably one of the best props that South Africa has ever produced. I mean, doesn't he come from the school here around the corner, St. Stephen's?
Yes. He's at the Lions now again.
No. Yes, and actually, I saw him when he was still at school, and he got number 17 on his back, going to a Craven week.
Yes.
A second game, they never put him on the bench again.
With Umzwaki Nkosi was coaching.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Basically,
the assistant coach there.
Profiling is important, but that's why I say our coaches don't take the time to actually focus really on the actual talent. And the profiling, what if this guy's DNA is supposed to look like that? He'll never change. Does it mean now he cannot proceed and go further and be a superstar because of how he looks? Which is it's a pity. I mean, in a modern game, if you're able to do A, B, and C, I mean, everyone get tested on every season. So it's very important. So if you got those techniques, like, I mean, he's one of the best scrummagers we have. And for some reason, still, guys are still skeptical about him and stuff. And then I think of other guys who probably look like Achilles.
Yeah.
Very big guys, but the technique was dololo. And they gave those guys so many chances to try and get it right. And it never happened. It's just obviously that was coming down to, in South Africa, having so much talent that we don't pay attention to the smaller things that actually could help the kid become something special. We focus on moving on to the next kid, and I suppose depend who you are as well.
So is that your focus now in your Scrum sessions? One, identifying talent within the various organizations that you work with, identifying the talent, and then working on that technique rather than, okay, give me a guy who's 105 kilograms, who's around 175 to 118 around about, and that's that.
Actually, that's what I enjoy mostly about the game, because it's nitty-gritty. I've had an experience to work in the back room with the ladies.
Yes.
So basically, I enjoy that. And I actually started not enjoying it when I sat on the hot seat. Like, actually, they take him away from what I love. And it's a nice privilege sitting on a hot seat, but damn, I can't do anything here. I'm not in charge of anything.
Not on the ground.
I'm not on the ground. I mean, there's certain people who enjoy the work on the ground. And let someone shine. Let someone do the strategy and let them like that. It's like, I think that was a missed opportunity. Or not a missed opportunity. I think at the time they needed to put someone. Things were not going right. I think Ras actually did it. So they needed to put someone like, hey, I'm here. I'll do this thing. Because I'm here with Kai. I'm here with Denver Wonders. I enjoy them because behind the scene, when you actually coach the ladies, too much passion. But a lot of things need to be coached. And then even to be started there, I was learning a lot in terms of coaching. What is actually this coaching? You don't take a product that's complete and put it into somewhere and then keep it moving and then that's coaching. I mean, I've actually helped St. John's as well. I mean, when you look and they're trying to figure out how do they work with certain players to certain positions.
Yeah.
But when Gerry was still there, I remember, he took a second team, lighty, tall, lanky. This guy could have played lock, but he's a kid who was willing. He was open-minded. He was willing to try anything. He ended up being the incumbent tight head for the season. For someone who was playing second team lucid, that was not happening as well because he's so tall and he's not getting it right. And then they brought him in because his work ethic was good. Like, no, just do this. So Gerry, I used to help him with the scrums during the week. And he actually asked me, he said, no, you need to come during the game, bro. When the kitchen catch fire, someone needs to have a, you know what I mean? And then someone is going to. And actually it worked because there was a time as well when I think one kid was either sick or the main organ injured. So this kid was on a bench to cover Lucid. And I think the tight head got injured. Like, I told him, they said, no, Bambaso. Because he's tall.
Yeah.
Like a Carl Heyman kind of a build.
Yes.
That was the advantage. So you tall. So all you need to make sure is like you go as low as possible. This guy cannot get to your hips. So by the time he thinks he gets there, you got advantage over him. Bend his, basically you scoff and then you just lie down. See how he gets in. And kid enjoyed this game. He never looked back again. I don't know if he continued as a prop. But I suppose he was losing
But he
weight.
was in the mix.
He was in the mix, and
was probably
basically
losing weight at a rate of knots also.
Yeah, no, basically, bring back your question is basically those little things that I'm still passionate about. When you watch a game as well, you don't watch it for the glam and the numbers on the scoreboard. You look at those little finer details. I mean, we've done a couple of games together. Sometimes you get to break it down and you look at those hooks and handles and then you actually identify talent at the same time. It's a shame this kid is not playing here because I think this might be better. But South Africa is just too blessed. And I'm glad as well. Rassie probably was given the green light to go full Monty carte blanche and basically allow him to do what he wanted to do. Because we got too much. You cannot follow England. We cannot follow New Zealand. We cannot follow Australia. We need to cover our own way in making sure. I think we need to create more competitions as well. Because the amount of players we produce, some of them just after school is like, cheers. I don't see anything happening there. And also for me, a problem, I think at some point we probably want to catch on it, the criteria of selection. Have you heard of a selector who basically broke it down for you? This is what they're looking for when they select a player. You've got your own criteria. I've got my own criteria. He's got his own criteria. End of the day, you see sometimes the team is selected like, hey, this is not make sure.
No, I look at situations like that and I'm thinking to myself, I know, maybe that's why I'm not the Springbok coach or the head coach of this union because they must be thinking better things than I. You touched a little bit about the women's game and your time in the women's game. And Dongs and I were talking a little bit earlier about, how has the women's game transformed from your time to now? I mean, not just in rugby, in a multitude of sports in our country, but the women's rugby game has come in leaps and bounds.
Funny enough, you say leaps and bounds. I think they needed to go back and find what can we do to enable these ladies to go forward. I think the last time we did, after our World Cup 2014, they actually had to pause. We don't go to the next World Cup. We need to restructure this thing and look how we go further from here. And they realized that we needed to go back into where those resources are coming from, try to build from there, and try to create an environment where these guys have got a competition on a yearly basis that they can play and compete. And obviously accolades come. Let them compete with the best in the world to realize how far they are or how far behind they are.
How big is that gap?
You know what I mean? How big is that gap? Don't be scared. I mean, build a team, get them fit. I mean, it's kudos to the Bulls and like that who actually think the first team.
The Blue Bulls Daisies, yes.
You can see how they're carrying themselves on the field. They're professional. You can see these ones.
I was with them with
you. You're doing a game this
on
weekend.
Saturday. It was the Lions women and the Blue Bulls Daisies.
You could see the class.
You can see the difference. I mean, you look at the tight head from the Blue Bulls Daisies, Untoyando. I mean...
That was a loser, by the way. You see, she's getting
older
too. She's getting older.
That's what happens.
They're doing a the scrum.
I mean, she was just powerful and technique and just a hazard on the field. So I agree with you on that point. I think at national level, still some things to do. I see they're looking for a coach. Are you putting your hand up there? Full-time coach, they're looking for someone I saw last time. But definitely in terms of the Premier Women's Division,
they need to have a structure that's for them that actually is consistent. They need to be parallel with the other structures so they feel like they're also part of a union. Sometimes you can never have a structure of men running under 20. You got this championship and you got this, but ladies watching rugby, they need to be actually there as well. I mean, you got your varsity things happening. They need to run those parallel. If there's a man thing, there's a woman thing. Obviously, with the Olympics, there's a female, there's a man. They need to go parallel. That should be the requirement from every university, from every club to basically, not necessarily club because I struggle to have funding just to run clubs. So I will forgive them going a different route, but when you come to where it matters, when they're still young enough and there's resources, it's very important because you're building a conveyor belt to keep on moving him like that. And then you could see the passion. And the passion now is not only coming without that athleticism. It's coming with a bit of structure. It's coming with a bit of physical. I mean, the Lions, I thought they were dead and buried there at one point. But I could see the fight in those girls. They still want to do this thing. I mean, that's how
Stamina,
much
that number 10, she was
everywhere.
She was angry.
I was thinking at one point, this is a loose forward.
Nyanda. I mean, she was angry. She was in the thick of things. She was in the mix. You look at the center of Blue Bulls, Daisy's, Celia's. I mean, she was just the boot on her.
I saw a kick one day, like, my guy. You close your eyes and you look at the distance, like, hey, Simon,
You have
won't
to
make
just
that kick.
make sure. Hey,
They won't make that kick.
Yeah.
No, she's good. She's good with the putter. She's special.
I see your passion for ladies sport. Does this encourage you to maybe get back into the mix, maybe become the coach?
I never left. I never left. Like I said, if they keen to say, listen, you've done this before, still got a love for it, but I want to be in the bedroom. I don't want the hot seat. I don't want the hot seat. So at the moment they're looking for that, and obviously the hot seat, or maybe the guy's given the hot seat, his requirement is either bring his own coaches, or they actually say, these are the guys in the system. Let's see how we do and how we move on. Like, it's like, listen, I'm always open. That's what I'm saying. I'm giving myself, because I love the game.
Yeah.
I've always got this cameranyana, lating actually, empty. So when the gap comes, we fill it in. It's like, hey, let's go. You know what I mean? You know, because the backroom stuff, I think I'm still passionate about the backroom stuff, because I feel like the strategy, the head coach thing, yes, is important, but hey, but you seem like you're a bit too far from where the action is at, actually. Which I think is not a bad thing, but I think I enjoy more the hands-on scenario where you actually making a difference in an individual to or enable them to go
So
further.
almost getting involved more with the system to getting the ladies up to the professional levels, because we only see women's sports at the final product. We don't ever see
The grassroots.
What happens at the bottom. Now there's a lot of guys who are actually doing a lot of work. I mean, Mandisa Williams, I thought I was going to say the Bulls, but
I thought
they
I saw
said, no. Someone has actually said no. She asked for a break to go something, maybe private or whatever. But I thought the move to the Bulls as well came at the right time, because
Brilliant for her.
she's brilliant. I mean, she's been carrying that border union, and ladies been really carrying
Manalian almost.
Manalian, basically. She was running women's rugby, and the Bulls saw the value in her and said, no, come this side. Maybe that explains why the Bulls are good as well. And then, and then obviously if you do that, you got to push the other unions to make a plan. I mean, I was watching Boland play the Sharks as well. It's like, hey.
It's as well as the other ladies seeing that there is a route that they can follow to the top.
Yes,
It's almost the blueprint that there is something in the future if we put in the work now.
But office administrators as well, that was comes down to, because I think most of the time, I think it took a long time for women's rugby to start going, because I think rugby sort of associated with mana game.
Yeah.
So basically, ladies are a bit tentative. It's like, hey, there's netball there, man.
Own it,
biggie. You know what I mean? So I think they're only warming up to this thing a lot later, and then obviously the ladies are getting the opportunities now. They must really grab it with two hands and enjoy it, because it's only sport if you think about the end of the day. But if you don't have the passion for it, and you don't have the will to work hard, because nothing comes easy. So it's very important to, to mix it up as well, and obviously enjoy the game. And it's women's sport is actually lots of fun.
I know it's great. It's great. And I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. You and I covered the girls' week last year across at JP High School for boys. And I mean, to just see every union represented, both at under 18 and at under 16, to see the rugby that they play. I mean, those Western Province ladies, if you remember, my goodness.
They switch it.
So
hooker becomes number 8, and then the game plan changes. Like,
but the same hooker who's on the wing, they are so adaptable there. I mean, it was just wonderful to see that, because I didn't realize that such structures are in place. Certainly, I've never seen a girls' school fixture. For example, playing rugby there, and interacting with some of the coaches, they said, no, unfortunately, we have to almost privatize it in terms of having a club set up, and you start with the tag rugby. You start with touch rugby, then you move on to like a 7-sing just to get a feel for it. So the girls' rugby, like you said, they're almost playing catch up. So you go across the road here at Pirates under 8, Bapisi. So, but there is work being done there, which is wonderful to see. And long may it continue, because I was really, really happy to see the ladies getting in the thick of things there on Saturday, and they're not scared. Hey, they'll take you.
If you see someone angry and aggressive, no, I'm telling you, ladies, they will show you
goodness. They'll show you flames, and it's body, donks. It's body on the line stuff there, but the the biggest learning for me from that game that I covered on Saturday, there's one thing that is non-negotiable to the women in terms of rugby. And I don't know if you had the same experience when you were still in charge. You can do anything. Make them scrum, make them tackle, do whatever. There's one thing that is non-negotiable. The hair. Hey, the hairstyles were there. And they play with bandanas on. So I was looking at the one Lions, the Lions woman. She was a flanker. And I'm thinking to myself, that's a very thin scrum cap she's got on because she was on the first side of the field. And then when they zoom in, she's got a bandana on. Omunye scrum have almost like a swirl coast beanie type situation. I'm like, okay. Is that allowed? I don't even know. Where is it a rule book thing? It seems like it's been accepted.
No, you cannot mess. Remember, they are just ladies playing rugby, not ladies you want to be converted to men. So don't make them look like men. They still need to look like ladies towards the game. So that's very important. So I think though, you bring him, the danger though, you can play reverse psychology on them. Understand is their crown, but remember, what happens now if someone touches your crown by accident on a rugby match when it's nice and you watch the Sevens over the weekend.
Look at Cecil Africa. Remember when
Hendrik. You know that sometimes you're pulling something with your eyes closed. You think you're pulling a shirt and someone literally they pull the braids. They use it
back,
and she released, but then it was too late. Yellow card later is unfortunate. That's why I say sometimes just to be on the safe side of things.
Yeah.
You are playing a contact sport and sometimes things happen. Hence end up in places when you don't expect them to by accident. Just tidy them up and and obviously you can make it look funky and then now it's fine. But when you get pulled by the hair, I feel sometimes it's unfair to the defender. If it's the only thing that's staying behind and you're chasing the hair, this one is leaving me. Do I grab the hair first and then
take one for the team?
No. Very important. The crowns are very important. I'm sure coaches don't even interfere because they don't understand. There's a line. Yeah. There's a. You know that glow in the dark?
Yeah.
Only when the light comes on.
Only when the light comes on, almost like a reflector.
An unwritten rule. No, you don't touch the crown. No, you can advise, but you cannot touch it direct as I.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant to see that rugby that's going on there. Talori, you look at when the rugby season started. Schools are starting now. Normally it used to be second term. From after the Easter holiday, you used to play until exam time, Pelil. Now schools are starting at the end of the first term already as warm-up into your Nuet your Easter rugby festivals. Some schools play through exams. And then that third term, this is obviously for the fourth term schools, your state schoolings, your state schools. Are we playing too much rugby or Ice Mnandi?
Well, I suppose, like I said, you get academic schools, you get sporting schools. So academic schools, they don't play around. They ration your time is your time. And this time is this time is this time. St. John's, how it operates there. When is this for this now? Yeah, mingling with other things. But then you get those traditional sports schools who you sort of forgiven to continue the whole season because, that's the only sport that's put the school on the map. So why now stop when you can compete with other schools that are playing on the same level? But then if they can sort of structure it in a way that they only play against those guys, create their own league sort of a thing without messing around with the others, sort of schools, how they operate things as well. The private schools, for them is very important. Bottom line is that we're here for schooling. Sport is just an additional to help you along as you go. And you get school that, listen, we're here for rugby, we're here for this. Sometimes they even recruit based on the sporting abilities that you have. And then basically that's how the cookie crumbles. Basically how they manage that now becomes very important. And when they do it as well. If you're saying you're playing through exams, it means they're making time for them as well to study, to make sure that the academics are also as important as the game is itself. The balance is very important.
There's not even things as pre-season festivals anymore. Benakan, straight into it. There you are. You and I were at that Nuet tournament. Looking at the schools that are playing there, considering it was the first tournament for the guys, some teams that was their first game, they didn't even have warm-up games. The professionalism with which these teams are run now is just unbelievable.
No, they probably still have an off season. So when you find that the kids are supposed to be on holiday, these kids have gone on with the program. They follow that. I think in the first term, when people are getting ready for athletic and all of those things, and then they actually testing how far you are from the off-season program. They're working. 5 o'clock in the morning. You need to be at school at 7. These boys are training at that time, before the time. Remember, don't interfere with schooling. Rather do it before schooling or after schooling. And obviously, being a rugby traditional school, basically you get given that time in the morning and time in the afternoon. They probably training like professionals. They're given that as well. Those who probably multi-skilled, probably given a chance to go do a bit of athletic from time to time if the school really needs you. If they need you. You know what I mean?
Because you would know, Dalloy, when we're doing our team sheets and we need information on players, there's some schools, you ask, what does Dongs do in the summer? No, he's first team cricket, he's this, he's this. This one's, in the choir. Then you go to some schools and you ask the manager, so what does your captain do? Rugby. Okay, so, is he part of any rugby?
So if he's not playing rugby, he's training rugby.
Yeah, he's training rugby.
Sleeping rugby.
And the managers look at you like, I don't understand what you want me to say. The guy's here for rugby, is rugby. So you do get those players that are are multi-skilled. I remember talking to the manager of the Affi's first team, and they were talking about the 8th man, Leopold.
Yes.
And they said, oh, he plays first team cricket. I was like, okay, why is that? No, just didn't go to preseason, went there, hit a couple of balls. They said he was good enough, so they put him there. But the rest, rugby. I was like, oh, okay.
You say that. I actually attempted hurdles. I'm not the tallest guy, but that's the last time I tried
hurdles.
No, remember, our preseason is actually athletic time.
Yes.
So you either gonna participate just to get that.
Because the athletic season is that January.
Before the winter sport. And obviously, I attempted it because I was pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, my man, I attempted it at 200. I was stretched for the rest of the year. Because if I didn't get it right, it would have been other stories. And I tried my luck at 400. I conked at 200. Load shedding. Like, what?
Load shedding!
So basically, that time, that's how keen rugby players when they go to different sports.
Yeah.
Because they do these things. They punish themselves in order to get ready for rugby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The one I probably avoided the most of my time, as much as I could, is the long distance things. Yeah, those guys.
So, Lawrence, if you were not a professional rugby player, what other professional sportsman would you have loved to have been?
No, actually, before rugby, I was playing soccer.
Okay.
At the school I was, where Springs went and stole me, and then I was actually playing soccer, but that was also not at school. It was actually outside of the club. I think that back in the day, you got these old guys, which I don't think happens nowadays. And communities, obviously small communities, where they create sport events for kids just to go do sports.
Just like a Kazi, just to keep guys busy.
So I was actually playing for a club. I was a great defender. Stop nonsense number 5, Baba, when it came to soccer. And you'd actually take a ball, let's say you poach a ball from somewhere, you'd go tsa. When you get to that 18 area box, something happens, you freeze. You're like, yeah, man. What happened? I came all that way to here. And you freeze.
Okay.
So that's why maybe they've got different positions for different guys. And obviously, I think that 18 area box is meant for strikers and all those flashy looking guys, because they operate in that environment nice and comfortably. But me, in my 18 area, I'm as Calabab.
I think we need to get you involved in the next celebrity soccer match.
No, that wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad, because I think the knees are still willing, but I wouldn't be doing no slide tackles. Someone will break.
No need for that. But I think we need to find one and see. Even the indoor football there, maybe we can get.
No, actually, indoor football is a great fitness exercise.
Yeah.
And I see Randburg. I think the times are just weird now. I think it's very late. Like I said, when you got me, I was
no.
for homework. Like, hey, it's tough. And obviously played touch with some experts from Africa and stuff like that. I haven't gone in a while. Just the time. Sometimes it's not willing.
Time not willing.
That's why you have to go to gym, Baba. Otherwise, I mean, we're trying to keep fit with these other activities. That's the only way sometimes we try to keep ourselves fit.
No, fair enough. Delary, you're very passionate about club rugby. I mean, you spend most Saturdays down there at the Alberton Rugby Club. The club rugby scene took a little bit of a dip. You know, there was lack of funding. It wasn't properly run. It was an excuse to go fight on a Saturday and have 10,000 beers, you know, things like that there. And then you fast forward, you know, since, I'd say just after COVID. And I think you've seen it with a lot of outdoor activities where people sat for so long. Now I'm keen and putting effort into stuff. But the club rugby scene has almost just resurged, whether it's Pirates, whether it's Wanderers. It's just come about. They're managing to fill the clubs. People are coming in to support. They're going through, not every club has got young guns and then juniors, but now all of a sudden they're coming through there. Where do you think that transition is? What's happening at club level?
Well, I suppose that's always the baby of the union. You know, union's got a professional arm, has got an amateur arm. I think the Lions have got I think last year they started it. They got Casalaga involved.
Right.
I mean, I was commentating most of their games last year. I think it was actually a great thing because guys were looking forward to it. It was when Pirates ended up beating Northwest University.
But who was born on it?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you think about it, also when I was involved with Alberton, like actively involved with them, I always asked, it doesn't make sense. University got too much talent. When you go play your game with a certain amount of players, I mean, you can make 3 teams, which are first team quality. Why don't they integrate them into the clubs in order to strengthen the club system? Okay. And then basically only when the university needs them. So listen, like you know when the soccer, professional soccer, when they borrow someone to someone and say, listen, when we need them, we'll just
like on loan,
on loan. We'll just call you just to bring them back. Wouldn't be an issue. And then for some reason, I don't know what they didn't do that, but what they did is to integrate in terms of how they compete. They bring the universities and they bring the clubs. Because they say, well, who's made of what?
Right.
Obviously, university with the quality of talent and a bit of speed, bit of flair. But the club is wised up. So listen, we don't have the speed. We don't have the fitness. But one thing we have is the grant and the muscling and the experience. Let's not make this thing a flash thing. Let's just bring them here. Yeah. Tighten the screws.
Sure.
I mean, that's how when Paris won the league is basically they played at what they're good at and they bulldozed those forwards, flattened. I mean, Parker is not small boys, eh?
Yeah.
And they actually Parker was a front runners for a long time. They were running all over everyone. But I think Pirates at some point realized, like, listen, guys, in order to subdue this thing, these guys have never been touched on their studio. Let's do this. Maybe the backs will be shocked. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, not that Pirates doesn't have backs.
No.
You know what I mean?
But they do a forward game, like you said.
Yeah, no, forward-based game. And then, obviously, the strategies behind it as well. And I think with Castle involvement, putting in some money, the guys were excited about it. Every weekend have to win a case of beer.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
They go up for that one, eh? They really go up for that one there. So credit to, those sponsors that are getting involved. And it's just... it's really looking wonderful. It's good to see some club rugby on a Saturday afternoon. It's good to see guys out there. And it's good to see the quality of rugby also.
Very important.
The quality of rugby, because that's what people go and watch. I mean, I'll come watch you, but, you're not going to play rugby. It's not entertaining.
If you've got a university and a club, obviously the skill level, would vary. Now, these guys will want to pick themselves up as a
yes.
man. All right, this is where we need to be. Let's go. And that's what happens as well now. Obviously, these guys, they've realized, actually, we've got everything else. We short a bit of muscle. Let's see what these guys do and do that exactly. I mean, I was speaking with Leon Bosov, one of the coaches of Parker, first coach actually, who coached me, and he's still coaching now.
Coach Chu still coaching?
He's still coaching.
My guy,
No, he's passionate about the game.
Okay, there's
he's
passion,
passionate
but
about strange enough.
Other kids play also.
Strange enough, I played with him. He coached me,
Aye.
and he's still coaching.
Aye. It's got detachment issues. No,
but I think a lot of things changed in his life personally. I think he went through a lot of transitions. There was a time it was massive. The next year I see him, he shrunk. It's like, hey, my guy, I want your recipe. What did you do? And then obviously just say, changing things. Obviously they get enlightened as well as they go. You meet different people every year. and you sort of transition and you see, it's okay, the world has become like this. It's like, I mean, he comes from the old school, basically, from Northwest. Back in the day, were paka, remember those Milibura? That kind of a setup, and then he came to the light because they bought him because of his grant and his operation.
Yeah.
So he comes very far to still be operating. You gotta give him credit how he's also evolved mentally in terms of how things are changing as well. Because now the kind of talent he's dealing with is like a modern range of athletes. You need to treat them a certain way. Some of these boys, you say you must go there, they go that way. And if you don't understand why he went that way, you might tell him, keep on going that way. Don't come back. That kind. So it means he's changed a lot of things as well. And it's like, that's how the nature of sport operates. You need to evolve, listen to them, but at some point says, listen, I'm not listening anymore. You need to listen to me and then keep it moving because you got to find the balance. They're not stupid. I mean, they're smart kids. I mean, they've got ideas. So if you can mix ideas with a bit of experience and then sometimes become something beautiful. So it's very important to have those balances so that, strange enough, rugby never gets old.
It doesn't get old, and it just seems to be extending on the calendar. There's no rugby season. Rugby season 24/7.
Yeah,
Whether it's
24/7,
professional level, it's at this level here. Now you look in particular. We've just had the under-20 champs down under. I think great idea, brilliant. Let's keep.
So it's overdue. I mean, they copied from the Six Nations.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the Six Nations. I think they've got ladies as well playing in the Six Nations. Maybe not as televised as much. They should be like the men. Under-20s getting in more airtime, and then obviously you can see the transition. But now, obviously, the reason they can do that, they've got limited stock, so they need to look after their stock. How to look at we do something like
keep the guys in the mix, because
Yes.
you look at the Varsity Cup season that we've had. I mean, wow, the breakthrough players that are coming out of there. So, like you said, all someone might need to see is that Varsity Cup player and says, "Hey, what's up?" So now we're just keeping them in the mix there, keeping them interested in the under 20s.
And how do we keep him though? Because if you think about it, the structure is set up. Varsity Cup, and then what happens after Varsity Cup if he's not a full-time student?
Yes.
You understand
Yes.
now? And remember, he's there first as a student playing Varsity Cup, and now you want to go snatch him up because he's a rugby player. What happens to his schooling? I'm actually interested to find out from the guys who actually at unions who pick these boys and say, listen, come, is your studies finished? I mean, I like the idea. Varsity Cup is actually coupled with schooling, so it's very important that the schooling mustn't stay behind. When the time they take them, do they actually finish their degrees, or does he continue at the different union while he's actually playing there? That's the interesting
Yes, because
conversation
what
that
is the
these guys are looking
percentage
at
of
here.
guys going from Varsity Cup level into full-time rugby as a career?
You know what I mean?
That'll be interesting to find out. And, on the whole academic thing, remember for a long time, Wits always used to catch the backhand because they had a strict policy. Hey, you're not coming here to be a rugby player, you're coming here to be a student that plays rugby. So
Stay fit.
You found your doctor on the flank there.
Yeah. So they were Varsity Shield, but they stuck to their guns. The recruitment processes changed, the coaching and management structures as well. And now you see Wits on any given day, a formidable force.
They had to make an adjustment. They went and stole UJ Rao, what you call him? UJ coach.
Yeah, because UJ used to do the opposite.
Yes, exactly.
They just used to pick a rugby player and say, hey, do a 6-year diploma. You used to see all the guys doing what? Transport for food, logistics management.
There's no time for too much time to play rugby, you know what I mean? No, we went through that system. I mean, we bulldozed everyone, boss.
Yeah.
And we smashed at that time because, the guys, Pretoria and those guys, we used to rock fights. I think the only competition we had at that time as under 21 youth was Wits Tech. Before they became UJ. Wits Tech, and between those two, the technical and the university, that's when under 21 team came out of. Because the competition was rife, was healthy. And we smashed it. That 98, 99 season, I know the Alliance untouchable. You probably go Google it, you'll find it. I was
definitely not watching rugby in 98, probably coloring in squares for homework.
No, it's actually very strange. I think they went to go take a guy who's a rugby guy. Maybe he said with them, you want to go this route? You have to let me Kichima this way. We can get the balance right. Automatically the balance has been designed to be like that. You got to get your marks in order to play. So if the boys don't get their marks, they don't play. So it means you got to select smart rugby players. If you don't, otherwise then you got to enjoy the club season day. amongst the club players and stuff like that. And obviously how they split it as well. I've spoken to Leon again this weekend. So sometimes sitting with these guys, I understand how they do things. Club operates slightly different to, he actually doesn't coach the varsity cup, but he's involved with the varsity cup. Probably because he helps them with the scrumming and stuff like that. The club continues with their own program. Varsity cup guys will come in to supplement. And,
plus SA Cup.
And then SA Cup as well. And then you'll find out as well, some of the boys, they want to see how they're going to further in the next year's Varsity Cup, because then they get through this system where they get mixed up with a big manner, stark manner, and to just keep it going. So it was an interesting transition how they operate. But I don't know if all the universities do it like that, the likes of Jonah and them, how they actually do it as well. Because I think these two, I know Jonah, he probably sit there, club level, he watches and starts scouting. He probably doesn't interfere, but he's having an eye on to look what the future looks like and allow those guys to run club as well. They're running like this, but on different lanes. But they interact at some point when the season cross wires, when off season for this one, there's no rugby, you can come in here. When there's no rugby, you can come in here if the age is right. So there's a lot of rugby. So I'm sure they're trying this thing of creating avenue to keep these boys busy, especially when you...
Because they just want to play, man.
Yeah, no, especially when it comes to rugby, when you want to create an environment where they live up their dream, so they want to do it 24/7, they don't mind. And that break sort of is a boring time. I mean, if I make you an interesting conversation, south of France, Toulon, where Toulon is, rugby season, that place is alive. Alive. Off season, ghost town. Then all the rich people at rich boats are coming to Chile, go 10 there.
Ghost town, eh?
Pudulnakant. Go 10, so basically it's nothing. That's when I realized, actually Europe cannot survive without sport. And then obviously you can see how they fill up the stadiums as well, because I think they appreciate that opportunity to be able to watch a live game. They'll rather watch a live game than actually watch it on TV. They'll watch it on TV because they didn't get a ticket or don't have imali to buy the ticket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why those stadiums are always filled. So when there's no sport, it's crazy. I think the whole of Europe is actually like, I saw it for the first time in Toulon. When you decide instead of going home for holiday, you decide to say, let me just spend the weekend.
Just see what's going on.
Yeah. Ghost town. Boring. Nothing happening.
Gee whiz. So, international season coming up. That I think are we on the first or the second alignment camp? I think we're on the second one.
They started already.
The Springboks.
Yes, the second alignment.
Yes. Camp. Who, for you, in your opinion, was a guy that was in the alignment camp and you thought, no, he has the future here?
With the first alignment camp.
Well, yeah, first, because there was the first, and there were a couple.
They change?
There were a couple that were added to the second one.
They didn't lose anyone. They just added. Now it's actually going to be very interesting because I know they're just looking at these boys to see what they can bring to the party.
Especially considering, we've got Portugal in Bloemfontein.
Great time to try them out. You know what I mean?
You look at the likes of Nohamba at the Lions. Listen, I don't know what he did in December, but I think he went home.
It's working.
He went home.
He went home.
Yeah, he went home.
I was sitting there with people.
And he had big conversations with other bands. And
they sorted things out.
What a season is.
And actually how he transitioned from scrum half to fly half. He's actually a better fly than scrum half.
Who knew? No one knew. Somebody like that. You see somebody like Umasuku. All those kicks that he got 2 weeks ago.
Never mind the kicks, the kind of game he plays.
Yes,
the quick thinking, the kind of control. I know South Africans are sometimes confused how a fly-off is supposed to play and how a center is supposed to play. I'm telling you, he's got his own version. You've got your own version what a center is supposed to play. But one day, I think Rassie must just sit down and break it down. You're looking at a lucid prop, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
You're looking at a hooker, what are you looking for? You're looking at a tight end. If he can maybe get that, maybe we won't have
across our franchises.
Yes, no. If he can say this is what I look at.
Yeah.
Maybe open eyes of people, because a lot of guys, they look at size and they think, where can I put him? I like the size. But hands, dololo. Hey, brains, dololo. Hey, funny. But the size is nice.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then you're trying to find a position that's not going to allow him to think he's just going to craft.
Gotta hide him.
You know what I mean? Hide him, but when you need him, he must come out. When the beast, when you need that animal in him, he must come out. You know? No, that's a strange thing. I mean, that would be very interesting. I mean, the only guy who probably will do it best is on the top one. It's him. And then guys here would actually say, interesting. Although a lot of guys have got an idea. I mean, if I ask you now, what do you think a role of a lucid is? What would you break down? I know what it is. I play there.
Yeah.
And I know what works, what doesn't work. But you, as someone who's supposed to know, you do coach at JP as well.
So he needs to have long blonde hair.
You know what I mean? And then interesting things like that. I mean, you break it down. Because when you hear Kenny speak about a flav, and you look at a flav, it's like, this guy looks good. And Kenny like,
And Kenny can tell you like this.
yes, because he knows the position. He knows the positioning. He knows, you know what I mean?
The roles of the
the
position.
roles of a flav, what he needs to do. A flav is not a deep hanging flav and kick. He knows how to play deep. He knows how to play flat.
Sure.
He knows how to actually take it on. I mean, for me, if I had to break down a flav that South Africa has produced, that was something out of the ordinary that every flav needs to be, it's actually Elton Yankees.
Oof, I was going to say.
Ah, my guy.
Mayaka.
Hey.
I'm a lion, through and through.
No, but...
And he said earlier this year, he's like, aye, I'm coming.
I know, see, Yankees is... What's his name? Janges?
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah.
I mean, the winger.
Yes.
No, he's back. So basically, makes you... I mean, he could be coming back even sooner than we expected. So, but his alliance is going to take him as... But coming back to the flav thing.
Yes.
Because as a layman's person, who wouldn't really question a flav, how a flav should play.
Yeah.
It made a lot of sense how he controlled the game. If he needed a game to be a lot faster...
I mean, except the skew haircut, it just worked.
I never mind the haircut. Don't touch a man's crown. So basically, how he handled, he could kick and could hit, but he could play. He could like play on the line. Now look at what's his name, the Hendricks brother. The Flyfoots also played center one game. Jaden. Look up. I think he played better at center.
Was remarkable.
It's like, okay, maybe this guy's playing in the wrong position. You know what I mean? Because your brother's a scrum half, maybe they said, listen, I don't have someone else to connect you guys. You play flav, you play scrum half. That's how you're going to grow up. He actually was brilliant. And then that Nohamba combination now would have worked. Nohamba, him, and it's my guy. And then makes you wonder now sometimes, you know, when you select a player, do you select it according to the game plan that you have? Do you select a player to what the world is expected, to what the inside does, to what the outside does, and things like that? So the criteria is very vague, but everyone has got a criteria. You know what I mean?
The criteria is very vague, but everyone has got a criteria. That's probably half the problem, eh?
No, I suppose, do you want everyone to think the same, or do you want everyone to play a certain way? Because then it's going to be too easy for people to predict what is he going to do because he's required to do this, and other guys are looking at it completely in a different position. I mean, they say the game controller is actually not a number 10, it's a number 12. And number 10 is just a distributor.
THR.
You know what I mean?
Delivery.
Yeah, man. So basically, Naman Masuku, then, when I watched him do in that final, that was amazing. Because he was like coming out of a hole somewhere in a split second. You know, I don't know if his sign came from there with a quick email and said, listen, there's a space on the other side. 2 steps, took the ball. I thought he was like, hey, there's my pimp. Like, yeah? So basically, it just makes you wonder, but South Africa has got too much.
No, we're blessed.
Too much. We're blessed with talent. And I feel sad sometimes when we box ourselves in. And we box ourselves in that we need to pick certain players because that's what the norm, or that's what majority norm requires them to be a certain way. It's like, no, have him. I mean, Pollard is probably a better inside center than a fly-off. But then because he's been playing fly-off and he's doing a job that is probably a coach is happy with, he keeps him at fly-off. And then if he wants to use him at 12, he probably can use him at 12 anytime. Look at Willemse. 12, 10, 12, 15.
If you go back, remember, you spoke about him at the beginning of the show. Who Kabamba Fleurs?
That was a machine.
Both of them, they were like, no, they're too small.
I was
Guarantee.
Brousseau was a machine. It was a specialist at what he did. But Brousseau, I don't think there's a player that could do what that guy did. He was an open sider with skills for days. He was an 8 who could run you to pieces, and he was a bloody clever player. That guy turned the game that was done and dusted. I think the coach decided listen, there's no way winning this. 18-6, few minutes left in the game, throw the kitchen sink, throw everyone in. Yay, did Kabamba turn the tables on us. Because of the raw talent that he was. You cannot box him. He is a player you cannot box. You need to give him a platform to see what you do. And then when you got a game plan, it's like, this paper doesn't work with. When you talk about it,
just you.
That's you.
The rest maybe stick to the script.
Yes,
but yeah.
Just you. No, I think Kabamba was something special, man. That I think Free State also understood that. They understood what he possessed. I mean, that literally made him a instant buck. He went on tour. They needed number 8 at one game. He flew in on his way to the sevens. Come in, play number 8. It is clappies and coke afterwards, and then on the plane off he goes to the tournament. I mean, he was something else. I enjoyed him. I'm not a flanker. If I was a flanker, I would have actually based. I mean, I saw a flanker like that as well. One of those under 16, the weak Jeppy, is was from EP. It was exactly like Kambaba Flows. I think at one point I did mention it, like, hey, this one reminds me of Kambamba. The way he operates, he does his job. His speed. I mean, Kobani Bob as well was like that until obviously they said, no, we need your power and speed at the backs. He was like that. At Cravenwick, Boban was not the biggest. He was very effective at that flanker, what he did. He was quicker than his own backs. So that no one that was easy for him to just, you can operate here. Because he was very quick. And he actually enjoyed the position and he made it his own. And he probably brought something to that game as well. That was probably different to what they were used to. You know, he could operate. So rugby is just an old funny game.
Yeah, it's an old funny game. And you play so many roles in the rugby setup in the country. I'm going to pick on your commentary for a while. You do a lot in terms of the schoolboys. The schoolboys now transitioning into your youth weeks, particularly Craven Week. Any player for you at the moment from any school that you're like, I know?
South Africa, the problem is there's too many.
Too many.
Too many. I might pick ones that are not even picked to go play there because I remember it's also another section that's subject to someone selecting people to go play somewhere else as well. No, you'll have to actually go put them on a platter again. Let's have a look and see how they operate, and then you can start picking from them. But I suppose, Lions have got, 120 schools that actually play rugby?
We have 120 schools that play rugby?
No, over 100 schools.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, yeah, but I don't know how many do play schools who are over that or 100 and odd. Well,
not only that, but also how many of those schools are getting players picked from there? So you've got the local guys in terms of your Jeppies, your Cares of the world, your school monument.
Actually,
because that's where the under 18s are this year.
Yes, actually, your friend would have broke it down very nicely first because I think he was in that system at some point. He coached Cravenwick as well, right? So he probably would have actually give us an insight as to how do they get those numbers? When and how do they pick those boys? Because if you think about it, they have camps, and those camps have got to do with trials. And someone is probably sick at this point. Does he miss out? Or do they remember him? Or maybe he was sick this week. We'll see him on the next. Interesting how they actually operate. Because I know they have a couple of camps where they come and they check, play around, final selection. When they do select, usually they select very shortly before the tournament starts, and then if you miss out, you miss out. I remember before COVID, what's his name? St. John's had the number 5 lock.
Yes.
Who missed out? I don't know why he missed out. This kid was 2 meters already.
That tall one, he ended up going overseas.
No, he's English.
Yeah.
Literally the same year. The same year.
Rugby season ended at
he went to Dubai.
Yeah.
And the next time they saw him, He was playing against South Africa's under 18 in Cape Town.
Yes, he went to Cape Town. So
He was actually playing then, and something I said to him, because I was disappointed when he actually didn't make the Cravenwick Lions team. It's like, no, okay, listen to this. That subject, to whoever was selecting, he saw what he wanted to see, or he saw what he wanted to take to the Lions and to go play Cravenwick there. You're a talented youngster. You're good at what you do. Just keep at it. And then obviously he had options as well. I didn't know that part, that he had options. And actually he's got a red passport. He can just jump fence and go. No, actually did that. I think he went there. He probably rocked up one training session. Like, you're not. Yeah, come. And he's a good player. And then in that team, he didn't look out of position.
No.
Just to show you, being at the right time, at the right place, picked by the right person, that could be just your opportunity to just step into the limelight. And obviously what happens on that limelight,
it's another thing.
You know what I mean?
About those team selections, you were telling me something quite interesting a little bit earlier on with the Craven Week. Free State, the Craven Week guys.
Yes. What about them?
The team sheet, how many schools did they pick?
The starting 15 has 14 players from Grey. And then the bench is all Grey. So there's 2 boys from other schools.
Then how do you explain that? That's not a union anymore. I understand there's talent, but then the other schools don't play rugby.
Are they watching one school play rugby? There's talent.
Because who else is there? There's Ilui Puerta
So
there.
it means the coach was lazy to go look at other schools. Or he didn't have time.
Apart from the
Or
one
they
game,
probably asked him, have you got your team together already?
he's like, yeah, no, we're training already.
Grey has a really strong team.
Formidable, yeah.
But they've had better teams.
Before.
Yeah.
Because they had a right mix. Because, Grey is good at something. But you're telling me adding some spice to that.
Well,
cannot be
that's
a world
exactly what
beater.
Dino is saying. He's telling me, like, there's Noah, like, girls. We'll have to see at Monument when the youth weeks begin. So it'll be interesting to see. But most of the teams have been selected. Some really really good matchups, I think, for the under 18 Craven Week. So really excited to see them out in the park. Oh, Monument was cold last time you and I were there because the under 13s.
Is there water around there?
You ask me tough questions to which I don't have the answers to.
I thought it was a minor community.
No, nothing like that. Donks, final remarks from you.
Thank you so much to our guest. What a privilege and an honor, and thank you for being our first guest.
Hey, on debut, huh? Look at you. Similar to your debut, when was it? December 2001. 2000.
On our debut, or the real debut.
Yes.
Yes, 2001.
No, the one that was stamped.
The stamp,
I
I know.
go. Yeah, no. Thanks, Dalori. We really appreciate it. Your insights today, having a good laugh with us as well. I think that's something that we often forget. It's too serious sometimes, the chats. Let the kids play, sometimes. So thank you very much, Dalori. Certainly we'll see you either at Alberton Rugby
Somewhere
Club
around the scene.
or somewhere in terms of commentary. Or if you guys are listening and tuning in there at home, as Dalori said, he's a phone call away. The women's rugby setup, he's a phone call away. So please, hopefully we'll see him there. Are you still playing Legends, by the way?
Yeah, last game I played was just before the World Cup.
Yeah?
Yeah, no. Enjoyed that one. Sometimes you get worried pulling hamstrings.
Where were you guys? When did you guys
Portugal.
just in
Went
Portugal?
to Portugal, yeah. To Portugal, yeah.
Yes, I remember.
It was actually very nice. Pulled the bicep there. I never replaced it. It's like, it's going to stay like that.
Are you joking or are you serious?
No, serious. If I actually have to, my guns now, this one is shorter. This one is a normal length. But I think when I came back, I wanted to see, is it one is still functional, so everything is fine. Maybe, the body can fix itself sometimes.
So Dino, if you're going to take a hook from Lawrence, take from the right-hand side, it'll hopefully be a little bit easier. But no, Dalori, really appreciate it. Thanks for making the time to be with us on Coach on a Couch. Guys, Jeez, what an episode. What a first episode, Dongs.
Lovely. This is off to a great start.
Yeah, and as you can see here, Dalori, we are building our jersey and our cap collection, so I'm sure you've got plenty there by you. So if you'd like to hand over one to Coach on a Couch, please do so. I mean, we've got all your replicas.
I can see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It takes you back.
It's seen some good days.
Yeah, it's seen.
You know, even the colors become a chill.
Listen, I was training in that jersey at under 14. I should say I was swimming,
You're swimming in
that.
there. That's why it's lost the color. We had a water polo coach at school. He used to make us swim in rugby jerseys for
the weight.
strength and conditioning. Yeah. Had to put Vaseline around our
And
nipples
what's
chafe.
the brand? Is it Cotton On? But the Cotton, because those are the heaviest jerseys.
No. This is
Yes,
Makoya.
yeah, this is
No. No. This is...
No, that material or Canterbury or Triple C.
Eh.
No.
This
No.
jersey encouraged the jersey tackle, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here you hang on.
You wouldn't tear anything here when you actually.
No.
But those ones that they wanted something and it's stretched and
You
it's
could
stretched.
carry a defender on your back like a trailer.
All the way. And actually, that's what happened at Koppelstamp on Tuesday practice there with Mr. Erasmus. There, you hang on and you
That's it.
track, Papa. Guys, please do make sure you follow us on our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Coach on a Couch, is where you will find us. That's it from us here. So, from our couch to yours. We'll see you
Let
next
the
week.
kids play.
And let the kids play. Okay, we need to work on that one. Cheers, folks. We'll see you next time.
Off the cuff.